good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever you're watching this. Welcome to system demonstration of group 24. My name is Max and my group mate Aqil and Liang. There are 6 parts to this presentation. Will be system development, strength and weaknesses of the system, flowchart, explanation of C++ code, future enhancement, and reflection on learning outcomes. Firstly, system development and overview. When they start the program, they will be able to input data, show graph, show report, exit program, and help menu. They will be able to choose one of the 5 choices that's given by the program. If they enter one, which is input data, they'll be able to enter the file name they want to save the data in, the name, the username, and state name, and the 12 months of data, rainfall data. After that, they'll be able to exit the input data page by typing any program alphabet or value, or type retry to retry inputting all the data. After they exit the program, all the data input by user will be transferred into the text file with the name chosen by the user. After exiting the input data page, they'll be led back to the menu, and if they enter 2, they'll be able to type the name of the file that they want to save the graph data and publish by, and the file to read, and also entering the state name, and all the data from the file that's read will be shown in a graph form, which per hashtag is equals to 3 cm rainfall. It will also show the total rainfall, average rainfall, published date, and published time. They'll be able to exit the show graph page by entering any value or alphabet. After exiting, all the data from show graph will be input into the file with the name written by the user. After exiting show graph, if they enter 3, they'll be led to show report page, which they will enter the file to read and the name of the file to save the report data. It will show published by, file name, the state name, the total rainfall, average rainfall, and the amount of rainfall in the state for a year, which is heavy amount, moderate amount, less amount, or no amount of rain. Published date and also published time. They'll be able to also exit if they enter any value or alphabet. After exiting show report page, all the data from show report will be input into a new file with a name written by the user and will be led back to the menu. If they do enter 4, which is exit, they will close the program, which the program will show thanks for using, and program will end. If they do not press 4, but they press 5 for help, which is the help menu, they will be led to this help page where there are instructions on how to use each of the choices, which is choice 1, 2, 3, and 4. Input data, show graph, show report, and exit program. The instructions are clear and simple for the users to understand. The second part will be strength and weaknesses of the system. So the strengths of the system: it effectively manages file input and output operations. It also create, read, and also write data to external text files. It also has function modularity, which breaks down the different tasks in separate functions, which is input data, show report, display graph, and more. Modular approach promotes code reusability, readability, and easy maintenance. It also has a clean and user-friendly interface due to the implementation of clear screen function. So the weaknesses of the system: the code of the system relies heavily on global functions, which can make it harder to understand and maintain as code base grows, as it also is prone to security risks, especially when it accepts file names, as there is no validation for potential malicious inputs. And lastly, the platform dependency, as it relies on platform-specific commands like system CLS and system clear for screen clearing, making it less portable across different operating systems. Thank you. I would like to pass it on to Aqil.
Teacher, I'm Liang from DS2. Today I'm here to explain our assignment codes, the rainfall data system. And the first I want to explain is the libraries and header file. And the first header file is the window.h. And the purpose of the file is to categorize user from using Windows program or using Linux iOS. And when the program detects the user is using Windows, it will categorize it to the windows.h. And after that, if the user use Linux or whether iOS, it will categorize it to the CSTDLib. And after that, a header limit. And the header limit is unable to handling of numeric limit in the program. Like we used to clear the input buffer, like we set a numeric limit to clear the characters. And the fstream file, we used to open a file and close the file. And after that, the fstream header. And the fstream header is, it can enable us to find and to extract a specific value after a specific symbol. And the string file offers string manipulation capabilities. And the algorithm, and we use the algorithm header files. The purpose is to transform a whole words to to upper. And after that, the C time header, and we use this to extract data like publish date and publish time to explain the main function. And in the main function, we use switch case to code our main menu. And our main menu provides 5 options. And the first one is the input data, the second one is the show graph, and the third one is the show report, and the fourth one is the exit program, and the 5 is the help function. And the input data will ask user to input a specific file name, username, and a states and the rainfall data from January to December. And the show graph will ask user to select a file to read, and we will display a graph based on the data. And the show report is almost the same. We will display a report based on the data. And the exit program, when user enter 4, the program will stop running and exit. And the 5 is the help function, is to guide the user with the clear input buffer functions. And the purpose of this function is to decrease the repetition, like we no need to always enter to type again the scene.clear, the scene.ignore again when input is occur. The next step is the clear screen function. The purpose of the function you can see at the screen. When user proceed to the next program or the function, the previous function and the program will be disappeared. And the purpose is provide a cleaner and more user-friendly. So the page will become more cleaner and not so complicated, and the user will know which program they are running now. Is user input functions. And first, we'll ask user to enter the file name to store the data, and enter username and enter the states for details. And the follow is for storing the data in the specific file that user enter. And we use month array to store January to December. Then after that, we'll ask user to enter the rainfall data by CM from January to December. And if the system detect the value that the user input is below 0 or more than 45, it will print out invalid input. Please enter a number between 0 and 45. And if the system detect the user input is not a numeric value, it will print out invalid input. Please enter a numeric value. So the goal here, we coded a goal to retry is to when user, okay, for example, when user enter the data for April, he enter like maybe -1 or A, he will no need to enter the whole data again from January, no need. He will just he can directly enter the data again in April, for April. After the all data is entered, we will record the publish date and the publish time and into the file. User can choose to exit the program by enter any value or alphabet, or enter retry to retry the program, and it will start from the enter file name. And this is the sample of the input data. The left side is the program, and the right side is in the notepad. The display graph function. And first, we'll ask user to select a file to read. And if a file was invalid or the file is not existing, we'll ask user to enter the existing file, and user can choose whether to exit or retry. And if the file was valid, the file open, we'll ask user to select a file to save the graph data. We use a for loop to read the first 3 lines for user details, which is the username, the file name, and the state name. Use a while loop to extract a specific data. The condition is while get line, file in line, or count below than 12. And we use the stream header file like size t post equals to line.find to find a specific data after a specific symbols. And if the data is found, I add ISS into the data count, and the count at first will be 0. So it's like the data, the array data 0, 1, 2, 3. The first one is the January, and we will print out per hashtag for 3 cm rainfall. And after that, after all data was print out, we use a vector double rain data to extract the average rainfall and the total rainfall. And we use the same while loop, but a little bit different for the condition. We code another while file in is not end of the file. The loop will continue. And below that is the same. The difference is we change the ISS into data count to rain data pushback, and this for the vector data, the vector use. And after that, after the data is extracted, we'll store the data into another variable. We'll declare two variables, a total rain and the average rain. And after that, we'll see out the total rainfall and the average rainfall. And below is all the file out. It's almost the same with the seal out, but we just file out it into the notepad. And we use another while loop to find the published date and time. And it's also almost the same. We just change the symbol into a words. We ask user to enter any value or alphabet to exit. We let user to control the flow. After the user want to exit, he just enter anything, then he can exit and back to the main menu. And this is the sample output for the display graph. Show report function, and it's almost same as the display graph function. We'll ask user to select a file to read, and if the file is invalid, and we'll ask user to retry or whether he want to exit. And if the file is valid, we'll ask the user to select another file to save the report data. And also the same, the first three line, we will extract the data, use the vector data to read the average rainfall and the total rainfall data. And after the data was extracted, we store the total rain data in the data 0. And we store the average data in the data 1. And we use the if else to categorize the average rain and to print out a specific line. And the condition for the if else is data size bigger or equal than 2. And unlike the normal data array, the data size is based on 1, 2, 3. It doesn't have 0. So we have to bigger than 2 to extract the double for the double average data, which the data 1. And in data size, it will be 2. So, and after the data was categorized, we use the same codes to find the published word and print out the date and time in the program and in the notepad. And the same, user can enter any value or alphabet to exit. And this is the sample. And the other function is the exit function. It's very simple. It's just when user enter 4, the function will be called and the function will exit. The last function is the help functions. And the help function is very easy. We just basically use the cout concept to print out the whole guidance. And the purpose of the function is, I believe that some of users, when using this program, they will face some problem like how to enter a valid data or how to create a file, like a valid file. Maybe they can't open a file or anything. I think this will help them and how to categorize and how the program categorize the data. And this is the sample output for the help function. And I believe this is end of my part, and I will pass it to Aqil.
Hi sir, I'm Aqil and I'll be going through our future enhancements for the program. So the first one is to add GUIs where there are icons and buttons for users to press to access different sections of the program. So we can add rain icon for users to click to access the input data section and the graph icon to access the display graph section. And we can also add different color backgrounds instead of a black background. And we can also implement a web-based program so that users don't have to install specific programming languages. And you can reach a larger audience as web-based programs are usually cross-platform, meaning that they can be accessed even on the phone, as the user only needs an internet browser. And additionally, it is easy for the programmers to maintain. So the user login and registration system can also enhance our program in the sense where it gives us a layer of security and the user does not need to re-enter the data that they previously entered, as it has already been saved by the system according to user login activity. And lastly, localization and internationalization is to enable multilingual and multi-regional support within our program, which allows users to switch to different regions and languages according to their liking. But this requires the usage of localization libraries and techniques to translate the text and date and time formats. So in terms of our reflection on learning outcomes, the challenges we faced were to input C++ inputs into the external text file and read and write from that external text file to generate the report and graph. So from here, how we solved our problems were to search for tutorials online, and websites like Geeks for Geeks and W3 Schools have helped us in completing our assignments, as they have many articles that help tackle these challenging concepts. So as for our learning process, we learned that we had a better understanding of complex C++ concepts such as modular programming, classes, file handling, and substrings, and it helped us become more proactive as we had to incorporate external features and search for prerequisite information. So the external features were our clear screen function. And lastly, the mistakes we made were delaying the assignment until the last 2 weeks, which resulted us in rushing certain things, but we managed to complete it to our best. And we learned from here that we needed to delegate our tasks efficiently to each member so that they can complete it within the time frame and submit it within the deadline. So that's it for our presentation, and thank you, sir.